he is forcing their hand with this. We have a player from the preseason game against the Titans who had a particularly stellar night on offense, and it's making it a little difficult considering just the wealth of competition in the specific position group that he's competing in. He's been here with the Bucs before, and he'll be here competing once again. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, guys. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell, hit the button. 95% of y'all still not subscribed, but that's okay. All you got to do is hit the bell or hit the button. As we've said, join the Bucs community. We're building something big here. Let's get to 2,000. Let's keep building. But overall, who are we talking about right now? Because the wide receiver group, holy smokes, is it loaded. A lot of people will agree. The best receiver room in the league. Probably not even close. I mean, wide receiver duo, that's a different question. But wide receiver room as a complete room, from wide receiver 1 down to wide receiver 6, it's just a wealth of weapons for Baker Mayfield. And while Baker didn't play on Saturday night, we had Kyle Trask play for a whole half, and there was a specific player who was playing a good amount of the game, who was by the name of Ryan Miller, who we're talking about today. Kyle Trask had to say about Ryan Miller, he played great. He's had a great camp. He's always made plays in the past couple of years. I know he's someone you can count on. I'm really happy for him. He's just got a real feel for the game. That's what listen, we're not like at a loss for receivers in the wide receiver room. It's like the talent is always there. We've been kind of spoiled with it a little bit, but that doesn't mean that we can't be impressed by performances. And last night, obviously, he had 6 catches, 66 yards. Probably would have went for more, but ended up being evaluated for a concussion. But in the end, he was still having a great night, and that doesn't take away from that. And he ended up being cleared, which is good. So overall, what's really exciting about Miller is this: he's not like some rookie or undrafted guy out of nowhere. He was actually on the team last year and stepped up big time in some big moments last year when Chris Godwin went down, when Mike Evans was out. Miller, while he wasn't racking up a ton of catches during those 4 weeks that Evans was out, he made 2 crucial touchdowns. Obviously, we lost both the Chiefs game and the Cowboys game, but they came both in the fourth quarter. They were both touchdowns late in the game that kept us in the game, and he's doing that like in really hostile environments. And I think that's really important. That okay, this guy's not just showing up in a preseason game against backups, even though he is. I mean. He was the main target, for both quarterbacks who were playing last night. It was pretty obvious that Ryan was the bigger talent. He kind of commanded the field, and which is pretty impressive for a guy that is a little smaller. He's not as fast, but man, his fundamentals are clean. He just makes the catch. He makes the hard catches. He's willing to take hits and be physical, and you just really got to respect it. And he learned that from the veterans on this team. He knows. I can't make this team just by jumping up and making a spectacular catch. I got to show more than that. I got to be more versatile than that. And so it's been impressive to watch. It was impressive to watch on Saturday night him be like, okay, I'm not just going to allow my spot on this team be taken away when I know that I have a shot here. I have the talent. I have the drive to get the spot of the number 6 or number 5 receiver on this team. Although there is quite like we talked about, a lot of competition. I mean, Tez Johnson we drafted, and he's going to be making a run for it, though he's been injured a lot of the camp. We also have Sterling Shepard in there. It's not like a giveaway. There's a lot of names that you got to keep your look out for before it's just oh yeah, you've got the job. But it was still really cool to see. And then Greg Allman mentioned that he had a concussion, but it was cleared. And Todd Bowles confirmed that. It's overall, he's a tough guy, and it's important to remind ourselves that football players have to be kept out of the game rather than them asking to be kept out, unless you're Anthony Richardson. Shots fired. But overall, football players have to be protected from themselves. But this guy, he came in on great, big third down plays, and then which mirrors what he was doing in the Cowboys and Chiefs game. He was there when Baker needed him, and Trask is finding him just as easily. And that's a big thing. He's reading the defense. He's understanding where the soft points are in the coverage and getting open for his guy when he needs him. 6 catches is in only like two quarters and a half maybe, is no slouch. He was showing up a lot. I remember I was at the game watching and being like, man, there he is again. There's Ryan Miller. And so it's good to know that, like, while he's not like a hardcore veteran, he has experience with this team and with this offense, and that could give him a leg up in the competition for this wide receiver room. And there's also a chance he just ends up on the practice squad and then gets called up if any wide receiver injuries happen. But at the same time, going on the practice squad, you risk him getting stolen by another team trying to get signed. But yeah, last year he had 12 catches for 128 yards. And then 2 touchdowns, the ones that we've talked about. Overall, nothing crazy, but he came in when we needed him, when we were a little light at receiver, and he did good work. It wasn't like we were expecting 100-yard performances out of him every game. We had Kate Otten. Jalen McMillan was a huge piece of what was going on last year. But, Ryan Miller, we see you. You were there in 2 huge fourth quarter touchdowns that extended the games, essentially, especially the Chiefs game. We went to overtime because of that touchdown late in the game. The Cowboys won. It kept us within 1 score of the Cowboys, and we got the ball back before the Rachaad White fumble. But, Ryan, you're not seeing him drop the ball. You're seeing him catch it in these big moments, and I think that is a huge motivating factor, or a huge factor in terms of what the coaches are looking for. Like, okay, last year we were struggling a bit in the clutch. We were struggling on these close games and learning how to finish games. The 49ers game, the Atlanta games, the Chiefs game, the Cowboys game, you name it. There was a lot of games where it's like, okay, we're not getting blown out here. We're struggling to pull away or to like get this last drive going and find a way to win this game, or giving ourselves enough time to win a game. But having a guy like Ryan Miller, who's super reliable and has proven to be reliable, obviously not like, there's not a huge amount of data with him. He's only had last year as really experience, but still, in what he's shown in the preseason game and those games where he was in, it's definitely like, okay, we have someone who can, like, maybe in the playoffs be like a sneaky guy who comes out of nowhere and makes a big catch for us. Like, for example, we had a player in the Brady year of Johnson who was making, who made an amazing catch against the Saints. It was really an important play, and some say one of the most important plays of the playoffs, that run. Ryan Miller could be that guy for us this season, where it's like, okay, whoa, someone just made an amazing catch. Where did that come from? Not that like Ryan Miller's like making one-handed catches or going up in the air, making crazy snags, but overall he is proven to be clutch. And that's what you need in those tight moments, and everyone is kind of like worrying, I mean, what's going to happen? Who can we rely on? Ryan Miller can be like a guy that the defense isn't really focusing on or looking at, and then been like, bam, like he just comes out and makes a play. Jason Cano out of Bucs Wire said that no other Bucs receiver had more than 2 catches. Miller faces daunting odds of making Tampa Bay's final 53-man roster, as the Bucs boast one of the NFL's deepest receiver rooms. However, if he can keep his momentum up from this first preseason game through the rest of the preseason, Miller has a real shot to be on the roster on week 1. I think that he is absolutely right that Mr. Ryan Miller, he's not looking to just be like some guy on the practice squad. He wants to be a part of like those 6 main receivers on the final 53. It's just a matter of like, do we think that like the connection between Sterling Shepard and Baker is more important than what Ryan has shown? Or do we think that Tez Johnson and, his speed and his ability on special teams, is that more important? Or do we just, because personally, you ask me, I like what Ryan is showing because it's not just Baker who has a connection with him. Trask was finding him quite often. And the fact that like that was a consistent thing throughout the game, and that he probably would have had more if not being tested for concussion, is a testament to like, okay, the receivers and the veterans are obviously improving these guys. And then we're also finding great talent that other teams aren't aware of. And we have to make sure that we don't allow like this guy to like go off to the Chiefs, because, the Chiefs have taken players from us before, like in Justin Watson and stuff like that. It's annoying. Donovan Smith also went to the Chiefs and won a Super Bowl there. I don't think we ever missed Donovan Smith, but the point is, we know we have a solid talent with Ryan, and it'd be a bummer to see him go to another team. So I think my prediction is he makes the 53-man roster. And I want to ask you guys, what do you think about Ryan Miller? Did you find his performance particularly impressive or not impressive? Do you think he's a sneaky talent? Let me down in the comments below. Do you think he makes the 53-man roster? Do you see him having an impact this season? And go from there. Just let me know. We'll talk about it. And stay tuned for all things Buccaneers. There's a lot coming up. Joint practice is happening with the Steelers. We'll have stories coming out of that. And just make sure to stay tuned. We got, preseason game 2 right around the corner. Ryan Miller will be playing, obviously, in that game. And we can't wait to see him just ball out some more. But, stay tuned. Look out for 81, Mr. Ryan Miller. And I'll see you in the next one.